Oh. Video games as of current gen are incredibly uninteresting and bland. The video game industry, I think, has hit an all-time low when it comes to not only the comedy, but also the engagement and therefore the entertainment provided by these games. And I have a reason that may shock the audience as to why this is true, and I'm here to debate if this is true at all. When was the last time you were excited about the release of a new game? If you're like me and you were raised with a video game console at home, namely a PlayStation, then the answer is probably a long time ago. Maybe it was Fallout 4. Maybe it was Overwatch in 2016. Remember those days when we were excited about a new game coming out? Those nights in which we couldn't sleep because we were so stoked for what we were going to be able to play tomorrow. A game whose franchise was so interesting, or a game that genuinely brought some new to the table. Those days, I feel, are long gone. At least in the PS5 era, we haven't had a single instance of this happening. And call me crazy if this is just me, but I feel like this sentiment is felt throughout the whole internet. Now I don't want to be a member more of the doomer mindset. I do believe that there have been games that have come out in current gen that are worth a little attention. But these games are either sequels or continuations of franchises we've seen now for a long time. Nothing new or refreshing has come out. Let's look at Elden Ring. I know some of you were screaming at the TV, your phone, or even maybe your Samsung smart fridge. Elden Ring is an exception to this rule, for it came out in the current gen and is excellently well made and thoroughly enjoyable. But where is our Cuphead? Where is our Terraria? Where is our Ocarina of Time? Elden Ring, just like many of the titles that come out today, are just continuations of what we've seen before, just grander in open world that doesn't really make it some new. In the last 5 years, or better yet, ever since the pandemic, the new consoles, whichever you want to blame first, there's nothing that bets at all on inspiration, on creation. Everything is either more of the same or freaking slop that nobody wants, slash nobody asks for, just to appease the investors or the left or the right wing. There's no in between. There's nothing that is worth our time and money unless it's the Toy Story or John Wick of video games. Lately, it feels like video games have hit rock bottom, not because they sell or because they're not popular anymore. It feels like developers are not trying, or everything's overrun by political commentary slash agenda. The budget is spent more on the game having skins, battle passes, a horribly written lead, ugly characters, or boring or realistic design over art direction. There's so many problems with the gaming industry today. I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that this was very different 10 years ago. And again, I don't want to be a doomer, but games are not the same. This is in part why I defend Nintendo so much, for it is the only company that stays true to its vision, to the original vision. But enough of that company. I want to explain my hypothesis as to why this is the case, and games are just filled with so much content that literally nobody asked for, even though 10 years ago we would have Uncharted 4 coming out for the PS4 in 2016, and we couldn't wait for what the future would hold. The gaming industry nowadays is very much like movies. Back in the day, we had products that brought some new to the table and that made a statement. Products that would make you go out of your home and with your family to the movie theater, excited for what could be in store. Things or media that made a statement. Those movies, very much like game development teams such as Rockstar and Mojang, they're still here. But where's the new Mojang? The new Rockstar? We're listening at all to politics and statements, things that at the end of the day are not worth it. When we, the consumers, just want quality. We're getting Black Ops 7, but at what cost? Where's the Call of Duty that bestowed any sort of feeling unto the player, that made any sort of statement? Instead of just being an annual cash grab, more slop than what Fast and Furious was at its peak. The current consoles, they have no games. They still live and have a place in the market because you can play last-gen media at a slightly better frame rate or graphical fidelity. But that's about it. If the PS5 couldn't play PS4 games, nobody would have bought it, and we would have all just stuck with PCs by now. So yes, nowadays video game developers care more about making a statement than they care about stopping on the quippy lines, on the slurs and the curses with no build-up or development whatsoever, on the ugly characters and on the ascertaining to the left or to the right. This is why modern gamers stick to games that are basically the same since their inception, games whose developers just keep milking them, or revisiting older titles. Now, what can we gamers do in response? I personally don't see the industry changing anytime soon. However, we can do our best to stop supporting these horrendous and unattractive games to any of the five senses, so that they catch the hint and stop giving us the slop. I enjoy games as much as the next guy, but nowadays it seems like only indie developers, From Software, and Nintendo bring anything new. There's still hope. The few developers that try something new are the ones that are really worth it. From Software's got its own recipe, and Nintendo its own IPs. But in reality, the sauce is in the indie games. And to be honest, it's always been like this. Games such as Undertale, Terraria, FNAF, these are all games that mark an era. Their impact is felt throughout the whole internet to this day. We saw them growing up. We played them growing up. More than a monopoly on an IP, they bet it all on a new game. With no more than a few people and a little time, they achieved more than some of the big ones could ever dream of. Not only success-wise, but impression-wise, entertainment-wise. What serves if COD is still selling millions of copies a year, if you and I know its law? What serves if Fortnite is incredibly popular, if you and I know it corrupted video games as a whole? Live service games and AAA beasts are the bane of modern gaming. It's thanks to them and the controversy that they bring that instead of getting full games at launch or quality protagonists, we're getting this. So I say, our options are few and far between. We must encourage video game companies to try something new and that is within the indie teams and the old titles. If you want to try out that 2006 game that you hear everyone say is good, go ahead. Please contribute to the growth of the video game companies you believe are doing something good, and not the companies that bring out the same thing every year just to comply with a deadline. Thanks for watching. You guys saw I got a new microphone? Yeah, I'm having ideas as to what to do with the old microphone. They ditched me. I was 75% done with this video, and the microphone decided to just not work, not record anything. So I had to go out and buy a new one. This one is actually what I wanted since the start, but the other one was marketed pretty good. And I'm not getting anything back from the store that I bought it from, even though it literally doesn't work. So I'm having plans as to what to do with the microphone, and you guys might be able to see them. But I hope you guys stay and keep supporting me on the channel. I know I bring a lot of controversy, but it's a medium in which I get to speak my mind. So thank you guys for hearing me out, and hope to see you on the next one. Peace.